I finally finished my YouTube video. I uploaded it, titled it, but oh man, I forgot about that pesky thumbnail. I've made a couple thumbnails in my days, both for myself and for my friends over at Club Nebula. Where to start? Well, your thumbnail is kind of a visual representation of what your video's like. You want people to be like, ooh, I'll click on that silly little thumbnail. It looks cool and awesome, and I hope the video is too. This really sparks my interest. So you want it to be kind of what the video is. And I do this a lot of different ways. Kinda, you can fit the vibe of it. It should generally pertain to the video, but have fun. I like to make mine a little bit silly sometimes. I like to add some goofy characters, maybe twist the plot around a bit. It's okay to lie a little bit in thumbnails, just for the interest. Clickbait, if you will. But it shouldn't stray too much from the truth. Once you've established what your video is about, the vibe, the core theme, what it is, at its very utmost boiled down point, you can then make your canvas to draw or put pictures on and words on, however you want to do it. I draw mine. I like drawing, that's my thing. Then you can make your canvas. Now, I usually make my canvas 1280 by 720 pixels. It's in a 16:9 ratio, which is what the YouTube player and thumbnails are usually in. I just googled it. If you don't know something, Google it. That's what I do. So yeah. Wow, I've got a cool new canvas to draw on. But where do I start with drawing? I don't know. What do I do? Now, the first thing I consider when making a thumbnail for myself or for others is composition. Now, I usually use the rule of thirds for my composition just because it's easy peasy and you've got a awesome little grid to work with. Usually you want your elements, the elements of your thumbnail, whether that be characters or words or pictures or whatever it may be, in a third. So if I wanted like a center character, I would have them fit in here. Usually bigger than that though. When it's a thumbnail, you gotta think big. I usually look in my little view point over here, my little navigator, and see if that works, and if it works when it's that tiny, it'll usually work for a thumbnail. Or you could zoom out, not that far, but zoom out and look at it. But say if I'm gonna make the video thumbnail, I'm gonna make the thumbnail for this video. So I'm drawing a thumbnail. Maybe I'll have me over here on this third, and then I'll have the thumbnail over here and me working on it. So this is what I'm gonna do for this, I think. Gotta think big when you're thinking thumbnails. Don't get too wrapped up in the details yet. You can add fun details later. But for now, I just want to get the basic idea down. You gotta think of a hierarchy. What do you want? What is the most important thing? What is the second and third and there on and there fourth? What do you want people to see first when they look at your thumbnail? That's kind of how you decide the hierarchy. What is the most important part? I might add some words later, so I'm gonna scooch this down a little bit to give it a little headroom. Yeah. Okay. So, composition. Rule of thirds. I'm on a third, the thumbnail's on a third. It's big enough. Yeah. This is what I'm doing for this thumbnail currently. Methinks. Then, while I'm inking, I usually think about the theme or the mood of the video, and that kind of influences my color palette. Like, if you had a spooky video, it would be a darker, creepier color palette. Or if it's a silly, goofy one, it would perhaps be a lighter color palette, less spooky. Either way, you want to have something that kind of represents what the video is. You want it to match the theme, the vibe of the video. Another thing I try and keep in mind while I'm doing line art and stuff is tangents. Tangents are like intersecting lines where they really shouldn't be, like, wow. No, that's not quite here. Like, that would be a tangent. You either want to push it over, or bring it away. So when I'm doing my line art, I try and keep clear shapes by avoiding tangents as much as I can. Sometimes I give up and I'm like, okay, I guess I could have a little bit of a tangent as a treat. But I generally try and avoid tangential lines. So like right here, make it a different color. Right here, there's a lot of lines going on, so I would either move that up or move it away. I chose to move it away, so it doesn't get all mixed and muddled up. So that's another art thing. What am I doing with this hand? And it's always okay to start over and do something different if it's not working. It takes a lot of courage to say, this isn't good, and just erase it and start over again. But sometimes it's necessary, and sometimes you learn a lot from just realizing when it's time to maybe back away and start over on something. Sometimes it just don't work, and that's okay. Let's see how this looks without. Yeah, that could work. That works, I suppose. So now I have pretty much my line art done. I think this is all I really want for my line art. I'm gonna do something silly later on. You'll see. But now I'm gonna block in the foreground and the background. I'll show you what that looks like. Okie doke. So there I kind of blocked in some colors to show the foreground and the background. Let me fix up some of this line art here just a little bit. Get it a touch clearer. So, and then I usually use handy dandy alpha lock. So this basically means that it locks the transparent pixels, so you don't color over them. You only color over the ones that are colored in already. Makes things way easier for me, because then I don't have to worry about going outside the lines. For now, I'm just gonna color this white, because I'm gonna fill it in with something later. You'll see. You don't have to color people to be people colored. They could be green, or pink, or whatever you feel like. Today, I'm going to go with, I think, purple. I think I will go with purple today. I love a good purple, really purple man. Darker for this. Don't worry that it matches the background. I'm gonna fix that later. I'm just blocking in colors right now. Then use this. And I feel like this silly green. Use that. And then white for there, I think. So when you're going with picking which colors to use, you can either go by like the mood of it, or just what colors you like, or if you... What I do is I usually use purple. It's kind of my gimmick, sort of my thing, part of my branding, I suppose. Mostly just because it's my favorite color and I like it. And I like to do the things I like. That's my philosophy. So, just... if you're having a hard time, look at some colors. I've got my color palette up here. These are stolen from pictures because I say, I sort of like that color. I think that color is neat. And then I put it on my palette. And then when I'm like, what color should I use? The ones that I have already picked out because I like. I really like this green. This light green and that kind of more yellowy, neon-y sort of thing. Very big fans. Especially with purple. Purple and green kind of work well for me. Like pink and green? I don't know. Whatever floats your boat. If you're having a particularly tough time, you can always go to a color palette generator or look on Pinterest. Or, yeah. It helps kind of if you have a character already that can be like who you draw. I'm gonna go with that. This is a little silly right now color-wise, but I'm going to adjust it later. Okay, so another thing you can do is think about contrast. That'll help pop things out in your art. So you can either look at it through like a black and white filter. So black and white filter. Honestly, the hair and this need more contrast, but don't worry, I'm gonna do some other stuff. It'll fix it. So let me get rid of this actually. So you can look at things in black and white to look at the value and see if there's good contrast between items, foreground and background. And either lighten or darken one or the other. Or another thing I do, another silly fun trick. So my line art and my colors, my line art and my colors are selected now, and I'm just going to expand it like 6 pixels out. You could also just duplicate them and then turn it white. Drag it around and stuff. But now I have a fun outline, and this will make things pop a little more from the background. Another one of my little gimmicks is... where is it? Adding a cool checkerboard. So in a lot of my thumbnails, you'll see a checkerboard background in the background. Duh. That's just because I really like checkerboards, and I think they are cool and neat. I have it going that way. That way it directs the eyes towards that. Because this composition is kind of heavy over here, so I'm going to slant it. It's heavy on the right, so I'm going to slant it towards the left, and I think that'll do what I want it to do. Let's see. Maybe not. Maybe because this is... It's okay to play around with things and figure out what works and what doesn't work. It's better to do it in the early stages than in the later stages. Yeah, okay, that'll work. That'll do. And then I usually... right now it's a tile object. Then when I'm done moving it around, I rasterize it, which turns it into pixel objects. Then I put an alpha lock on, and then I can change the color. Is that a good color? Let's try some overlay. No. Needs to go darker. Yeah, something like that. Something like that'll do. But yeah. Now we have a little better contrast in here. I darkened the background a wee bit with that. And I added a cool fun outline. If you want even more contrast, you can even add sort of a drop shadow underneath. Whew. They're gonna do it with blue, because I'm silly like that. There. And now it's sort of like a cut-out piece of paper that's over this. And so more contrast. We love contrast. Let's look at this in black and white again real quick. Oh yeah, that's better. See, look. More contrast. Awesome, cool. Contrast, contrast, contrast. The relationship between light and dark really be hitting sometimes. Yeah, okay. Next thing I want to talk about is fonts. So there's a lot of fonts that you could possibly use, and a lot of ways to arrange letters. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this section up here at the top, and then this down at the bottom. Maybe like right here. I'm gonna arrange it like this. So there's some empty space right over here, and then I just want to have it over here because this is the main focus point. So I'm gonna add it over here. This isn't the color it's going to be. Nor the font. I don't really like this font. This is kind of my generic YouTube thumbnail font, but I don't want to use it for this one. This is my thumbnail. You want to have a little bit of breathing room around the corner, so you don't want it right in the corner. You want to have a little bit of space there. But again, we're working small, so we don't have a whole lot of space. So check it from afar and see what you think. And then you can readjust from there. I'm gonna make this awfully small. Again, with the hierarchy, you want to kind of decide what is the most important part of these words that I'm putting on here. Because honestly, you don't need that many words to figure out what's going on. Thumbnail? How to? So really, I could make this part here, the make A, I could make that even smaller. But I'm not going to, because this is really what I want right here, the thumbnail part. Again, in my FNAF video, I don't know, in one of my videos, and in like graphic design in general, in titles and stuff, you can make the unimportant words like A or the, you can make those smaller to make more room for the more important words that actually give you information. So there's some hierarchy tips there. Lots to think about. Now let's find a good font. I usually go for a sans serif font, which this is a sans serif font. I'll show you a serif font. So serif basically means feet, and sans serif is like without feet. So this has little feet. Look, he's got little paws. Serifs are just like the little feet here that the letters stand on. And a sans serif font, like my super bubble, doesn't have any feet. So it's a bigger, more solid font, and it's capitalized. It doesn't have any lowercase. Usually, with thumbnails, you don't really want all the extra little pomp and circumstance. Sometimes it fits though. It just depends kind of what your style is, your groove is. Really, do what you want, do what makes you happy. What I found is that if you like something, other people will like it as well. Right now, I'm gonna have a nice font, but I am awfully particular to a, where is it? CDF. Where is it? A Goudy Stout. Oh, I love Goudy Stout. It's so silly. It's not a particularly grand font. I don't think... it's really not good. If you look at the navigator, it's really not good for a thumbnail. But I like it, it's silly. I have a real soft spot in my heart for a Gouty Stout. Let's try some Gill Sands. Ooh. See how that looks in the... Maybe? I think we could do this. We could do this. Let me look at some of my other fonts, though. Whatever you do, don't use an impact font, please, I beg of thee. Usually you don't want to use... Sadly, you don't really want to use a sans, like, not a Comic Sans. See, impact... I don't know. I've got a... Impact is kind of stinky. Stinky poo-poo duty. There's better fonts out there. Ooh! Milky Boba. This I got at some sort of website, but I think we're gonna go with it. Kind of fun. Actually, maybe different font. Yeah, I guess we'll go with this. We'll rock with this. Then, of course, the age-old question of what color will it be? What if it was purple? No, I'm not gonna do purple. Maybe pink. Maybe I'll go pink. I like... This is like a hot pinky kind of red. Okay, so that's a little better. If we look at it far away, it doesn't have great contrast. So, again, what do? We're going to outline it. There's probably a better way to do this, but I just select all my letters and then expand the pixels. Do like 6 again, for good measure, I suppose. And do white. Maybe white. And then, little trick, I'm going to add a shadow underneath those as well. Whoa! No way! You could also do like I did here and have just like a border thing. This'll work. But I don't want it to work like that. Actually, I'm not doing that at all. I'm doing sort of this, and then I'm going to put in like this. I want a little bit of a gradient going on. At least at the end here. I want the end to have sort of a gradient. Let's see. See, this isn't really working that well. But if, oops, I forgot to alpha lock. I do that and then just like decrease this. Haha, I did it on the wrong layer. Amateur move, Nat. I don't know. It's okay, I suppose. It works well enough. Okay, so now we have enough contrast that that works. So back to my tip of have a gimmick, have some sort of branding that you go with. It makes it easier, you have to make less decisions, you just go with your old reliable, whatever your branding is. And you just kind of follow that. That's what I do. Kind of a brand choice, so my gimmicks again, purple and checkerboard. Sometimes I usually draw me in the thumbnail. Here's me. Usually silly stuff. This is mostly just so you have like a theme, a brand going, so people recognize you and they go, oh wow, is that a Cat Plates video? Oh, I love Cat Plates videos. But yeah. Also, feel, free and open to look around for inspiration. Steal like an artist, as they say. That doesn't mean steal outright. You can be inspired by techniques and how people do things and put things together and kind of use that, be inspired by it. But make it yours. Don't actually just straight out blatantly steal. And also, be silly. Be silly. The silly Wojak point and circle arrows. I like that. I think it's cool and funny. But maybe just don't beat a dead horse too much. Just a little bit. Also, relax, you know? This thumbnail probably isn't the last thing you'll ever make, so, I mean, learn from the experience, learn from doing, but don't stress out too much. I usually add a layer of just straight color and change it to overlay. And that usually makes things a little more homogeneous, go together. Or I add a gradient layer. Or you can even add a, where is it? A gradient map. Gradient maps are awful good fun. You could always create a thumbnail in black and white and then gradient map over top of it and make it that way. That's good and fun. That's pretty good for this part of the thumbnail. Now for the silly part. Hold on. Hold your horses. So you know how I left this big and blank and nothing right in here? What I'm actually going to do is fill it with the thumbnail. It's going to be a thumbnail within a thumbnail within a thumbnail. Alright. And in this thumbnail, I'm going to add an Easter egg of Morgan's favorite little creature. Yeah. Yeah! Heck yeah! Then I'm gonna do the same thing, and I'm gonna go... Yeah, okay. Okay, alright. Alright, okay. This is kind of an eyesore now. So I'm gonna maybe change this to black here. Yeah, okay, that toned it down a little bit. It was a little, just a touch too much. A touch too much. Okay. So yeah, this isn't the best thumbnail I've ever made, but I think it'll work. Good enough for who it's for, I suppose. Which is you, the audience. Nothing against you, the audience, though. We love the audience. This wouldn't be possible without you, the audience, so thank you. Yeah, this isn't great, but we're gonna go with it, I suppose. It's kind of ugly. Kind of a little bit ugly. What I could do. I could color the line art a little bit. This doesn't always work. But, you know, it's worth the old college try. It's also important to know when to give up and say, that's good enough. It works well enough. And I think we're at that point. I think I'm at the point where I'm like, yeah, I guess this'll do. Big win? I don't know. I could clean this up some more, but I'm not going to. Okay, so I guess that's our thumbnail. It's alright, it'll do. Again, this isn't the last thing I'll ever make, so... I'm not gonna dwell on this too long. But I hope you learned some concepts, some ideas to help you create your next thumbnail, or make your thumbnail game even stronger than it already is. See ya. Bye.